Our case study video presentation consists of introduction, factor of haze, impacts of Malaysian wildlife and human health, and lastly, conclusion. When we talk about pollution, it could be air pollution, water pollution, sound pollution, and many more. As for now, we will discuss about air pollution, haze. Haze is categorized as air pollution, as is the fog or mist that's caused by small particles in the air. Haze pollution means smoke resulting from land or forest fire which causes harmful effects. Our video presentation will focus on the haze in Malaysia caused by Indonesia. In 2005, a choking cloud of smoke gripped the country for a week, forcing authorities to declare a state of emergency. Malaysia declared a haze emergency in several areas around Kuala Lumpur. Officials claim that the smoky haze is coming from more than 900 fires on the neighboring Indonesian island of Sumatra. Haze intensity is monitored according to a rating system called the Air Pollution Index (API). A state of emergency must be declared if the API exceeds 500. These problems impact all daily activities. Furthermore, hospitals and clinics have reported a huge increase in complaints related to eyes, throats, and respiratory system. Nothing happens without a cause. Raina, could you please tell us what factors are responsible for this problem?
Thank you, NURAZZALINA, for a great introduction. Now, I'm going to talk about what is the causes of haze in Malaysia. Haze is created by particulate matter discharged directly into the atmosphere, such as smoke, road dust, and other particles, as well as particulate matter formed when gases pollutants react in the environment. Particulate matter can be found in a number of places. Larger than 2.5 micrometers, particulate matter occur from a variety of sources, including car travelling on unpaved road, material handling, crushing and grinding operation such as cement manufacture, and combustion sources. Fine particles are those with a diameter of less than 2.5 micrometers, such as fuel combustion in automobiles, power plants, and industrial facilities, as well as domestic fireplaces, wood stoves, wildfires, and forest fires produce fine particles. The next factor that causes haze in Malaysia is land and forest fire. A high concentration of particulate matter characterizes haze produced by a large-scale forest and land fires. Many Indonesian farmers engage in shifting agriculture, which is a traditional farming strategy that entails removing large areas of wooded land. Large-scale burning to prepare land for the cultivation of commercial crops such as oil palm has expanded this practice in recent decades. The number of forest fires in Indonesia has increased and become more broadly spread owing to El Nino-related droughts, inadequate forest management, and fire control. El Nino is a climatic phenomenon produced by a sustained rise in the Pacific Ocean sea surface temperature. This phenomenon has the potential to cause weather patterns to be disrupted, resulting in decreased rainfall and storms. As a result, the hot and dry weather, forest fires are more likely to start. Next is air pollutant. Pollutants in the air arise from both natural and man-made sources. Wind-blown dust and soot from wildfires are examples of natural sources. Motor cars, electric utility, and industrial fuel burning and manufacturing operations are examples of man-made sources. Haze is mostly caused by particulate matter pollution. Some of the particles that are caused haze are directly discharged into the air. The vast majority are created when gases discharged into the air react to form particles as they travel a long distance from the pollution sources. That's all from me. Thank you. I will pass to the next presenter.
Thank you, Annie. So I will continue with my part, which is analysis 3, and the topic is the impact of haze on Malaysian wildlife. The haze is known to have negative effect on human health, climate, the economy, and environment, and yet the periods of the haze has not been studied extensively, and its impact, especially on wildlife, remain unrealized or poorly understood. The haze caused by forest fires in Indonesia is likely to incur negative impact on wildlife in Malaysia. Specific study on the effect of haze has not been made, and the phenomenon also does not occur throughout the year for us to form detailed conclusions. In fact, the effect could likely be also realized over the long term, but nevertheless, one can draw parallels to study that have similar causal condition as the haze, mainly in which smoke block out the sunlight penetration and flow, and increases concentration of carbon dioxide, chemical, and pollutant in the air. This causes decreased photosynthesis and transpiration in plants, which in turn affect the food chain for wildlife and influence animal health and behavior. Acid rain precipitation containing harmful amount of nitric and sulfuric acid, which originate from major components of haze such as nitrogen oxide and sulfur dioxide. Acid rain damage trees and causes soil and water bodies to acidify, making the water unsuitable for some fish and marine life as a more acidic environment could detrimentally affect calcifying species such as clam, oyster, sea urchin, shallow water corals. In addition to this, animals like humans can experience health problems if they are exposed to sufficient concentration of airborne toxin over time. For example, a wildlife rescue center in Borneo recently reported that upper respiratory tract infection, dehydration, and malnourishment are among the major problems faced by the orangutan in their facilities. And so, depending on the level of pollutant in the air, this may also contribute to birth defect, reproductive failure, and disease in animals. The singing behavior and communication of gibbon is also known to be disrupted by the thick haze, in which long-term effects are also linked to reduced reproductive capacity. The different trophic level effect on the food chain are bound to affect wildlife feeding ecology over long term, but may not be immediately obvious since the haze phenomenon is not continuous throughout the year. Nevertheless, we are fully aware that the haze phenomenon is not likely to stop immediately, and the prolonged effect of the haze have already likely impacted our wildlife and will continue to do so as long as the issue persists. I will pass this presentation to the next presenter.
Thank you, Nabilah. Now, let's talk about the impacts of haze on human health. How haze impacts our health largely depends on our health status, like whether you have pre-existing health condition or else. Long-term exposure can potentially lead to the development of chronic bronchitis, reduced lung functions, and increased risk of cancer and even premature death. Meanwhile, short-term exposure can cause irritation to the eyes, nose, and throat, such as dry or sore throat, coughing, sneezing, runny nose, and tearing of eyes. People with sensitive skin may experience skin irritation and eczema flare-up. Fortunately, most people only develop mild symptoms which resolve on their own. Some patients with more severe or prolonged symptoms need to see a doctor for treatment.
As all my groupmates has explained, it can be concluded that haze is something people should avoid from happening. According to SYAHIRA, it can cause so many injuries that is very harmful to people. Not to forget when Nabilah said about the impacts of haze on Malaysia's wildlife. By that time, Malaysia took fast actions to recover the situation. One of those is cloud seeding operations using RMAF C-130s were used throughout Malaysia. Not only that, Malaysia had sent 125 firefighters while Australia had sent 12 bushfire experts to fight Indonesia's estimated more than 1,000 forest and scrub fires. What can Malaysians do to prevent haze pollution? First, refine air quality standards. Secondly, it is imperative that forests and peatlands are fully protected and restored so that wildfires won't occur in the future. Moreover, the government should be persistent and hold companies who are violating forest or peatlands protection regulations. Apart from that, Malaysians should normalize public transportation. I believe haze pollution should be avoided since it only causes more harm than good. In light of this, I hope our video case study can convince people that there is no problem that cannot be solved. Even the most difficult problems can be solved with a little bit of effort and hard work. That is all from us. Thank you.